This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman and Riley Smith. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Well, good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Today is Monday, May the 23rd, 2022. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in today's episode, Riley Smith concludes his discussion with Iowa 4th District Congressman Randy Feenstra. I talk with Iowa Secretary of Agriculture Mike Naig. We also get a rundown of your ag weather outlook. But first, let's take a look at the markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, the trading day is over for Monday, and we're going to see how things shook out. And for that, we turn to Bill Biedermann of agmarket.net. Bill, how's it going today?
Well, it was a better day than I expected, quite honestly. I think we had a lot of activity in the fields over the weekend, so I suspected traders would be worried about planting progress exceeding what we might have been thinking about a week or two ago. And but yet corn was up pretty good here, 6-7 cents. Wheat market was a real surprise. I thought that we'd see a little bit of a negative tone, some traders making some comments about spring wheat being a better choice for farmers up in the Dakotas to plant than soybeans right now. So maybe a little switch into wheat instead of soybeans. And yet the market was up real strong, 28 cents in Chicago and about 20 cents in Minneapolis.
How about on soybeans? What happened in that market today?
Well, we started out strong. We got up to 17.20 in the morning, and we got all the way down to 16.85 and closed near the lows at the end of the day, down 18 cents in July. New crop was down just a smidge, down a nickel. But there were a couple things. Number one, there was some talk that that some comments by President Biden about defending Taiwan was taken wrongly by China. I kind of, really doubt that there was a whole lot of credence put in any of those comments. It was just a speech. But they did make an announcement that they were going to pursue with Europe. Now, this isn't a total surprise, but, it was all over the news this morning, a new IPEF fund or framework that would replace the old PPT Trade Act that we pulled out of. So this should be a stronger Indonesia Pacific Rim type of agreement. There's, I believe, 30 different countries involved, 6 real main big ones. It would be really solid if they can get it together. But it's a long ways from being put together. Right now, they just announced that they're going to work on it, and it'll take months and months to get through the negotiating process.
Now, we talked just prior to being on the air. I mean, right now when we talk, we're right between the close and the release of the crop progress report. But we talked about in our areas and even a little bit further north how things were looking. And like I said, I was in Minnesota and saw corn out almost better than what I was seeing in Iowa. But Iowa were pretty well finishing up with soybeans already in a lot of areas. I mean, what are we expecting to see out of that progress report here, hopefully this afternoon? Okay,
so like on corn, they're looking for that 68 to 70% mark, which is a pretty good jump. But last year we were at 90%. So, it's May 23rd. We need to be wrapping this up. Now, the states that are likely still behind is going to be Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Missouri, maybe a little bit of behind over in Indiana, depending on how much they caught up on. But those are the 4 main areas that we're looking at. And even there, it's isolated to that Red River Valley, and then it veers off to the west, up towards Devil's Lake. So, not the greatest, hugest producing area of our country. Certainly, Indiana will be a bigger concern for the I-State people, but it all adds up. And we're talking about a total of about 17 million acres that were going into the ground later than a normal start. Now, a lot of these acres are going to have a normal finish date, Dustin, and that's kind of what I look at with these new genetics is, we used to start planting when it was, March, April, but if we get it all in on time, these genetics can do a lot.
All right, and now switching gears to the livestock side of things, how did things shake out there? I mean, hogs have been riding a pretty good run here for the last couple of days. Did they continue that today?
Yeah, they did. They had a $1.50 to a $1.80 rally today, so we had some good technical follow-through buying. We started out of the gate a little bit on the weak side. The hogs were running the wrong way, and the same with the cattle, because the cattle on feed report was pretty bearish. Placements came out much higher than expectations. I didn't think it was that big of a surprise, Dustin, because if you look at the auctions, that cow calf, the pairs, the calves, we still had pretty big auction volume just in the last 3-4 weeks, and those numbers were just showing up as they were cleaning up the drought stress type movement. But that's pretty well cleaned up now, and of course they've gotten some rain down there, so it's almost the opposite now. Everybody wants those pairs back, and I think this cattle market knew it was already placed into the market. People were buying the break today. We ended up strong across the board, cattle and hogs.
All right. Well, a lot of great information as always, Bill. If folks want to talk market strategies and see what they can do to take advantage of the situation, how do they get in touch with all of you at agmarket.net?
Well, we'd love you to give us a call at 844-424-6758, or you can go to our website, which is agmarket.net, hence our name, and get a hold of us that way.
All right, Bill. Well, thanks so much for the insight. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Okay. Thanks, Dustin. Have a good day.
And that was Bill Biedermann of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and run down those closing numbers from the folks at Bar Chart. July corn was up 7.5 at 7.86 and a quarter. December new crop up 7 at 7.39 even. July beans down 18 and a quarter at 16.87 even. November down 3 at 15.18 and a half. August soy meal down $6.10 at 4.1810. Soy oil down 3 cents at 77.96. Chicago wheat up 23 cents at 11.97 and a half. Minneapolis up 18 and 3/4 at 12.97 and a half. Kansas wheat up 23 and 3/4 at 12.80 and a half. Oats up 15 cents at 5.99 and a quarter. August live cattle were $1.42 higher at 132.97. August feeders $1.70 higher at 165.62. June lean hogs $1.50 higher at 110.37. Pork cutouts $1.55 higher at 115.90. Class 3 milk for May down a penny at 25.08. And that was our Ag Market recap here on Ag Matters PM. When we come back after this short break, we hear from the Iowa Soybean Association, of course, the soy checkoff. But we'll then talk with Riley Smith as he wraps up his talk with 4th District Congressman Randy Feenstra of Iowa. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AM/PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Right now, Riley Smith is going to conclude his discussion with Iowa 4th District Congressman Randy Feenstra on cattle market transparency legislation and what it means for Iowa farmers.
Thanks, Dustin. Well, last week I started my conversation with Representative Randy Feenstra about the Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act and the updates they're making to that. Today, we're going to wrap up that conversation. After discussing the details of the legislation, I asked Representative Feenstra how it will affect the average Iowa beef producer. From the viewpoint of the average Iowa beef producer, what benefits should they expect to see from this, assuming it goes through all the way and goes into full written effect?
Well, for the regular producer, it just opens the mechanism to see transparency, to see what others are getting around the country, for their bids. And what to me, it just creates a level playing field for each producer. And at the end of the day, I think for producers, it will increase bids. The bottom line is we just want fairness in the system, and we want to hold packers accountable. And that's what this bill is doing. I mean, it really is saying, packers, we want to see what you're doing and how this is playing out, and making sure that everything's fair in all sectors. I know we're in Sector 5 with Minnesota and Iowa. But there's other areas that do it quite differently than what we do, and we want a seat at the table and be treated fairly like the rest of the country.
Right, and with that level playing field comes the opportunity that Iowa beef producers really need to get after, is to go after and market your cattle and get those beef prices. Of course, we're making those prices apparent and easier to see than ever. Now it's important to go out there, market your cattle, and make sure you're getting the best price that you possibly can.
You hit it on the head. That's the bottom line. All right. You got to market your cattle and have the opportunity to get a fair price. And not under the cloak of darkness that we're seeing some vertical integration with the packers and stuff like that. We're not there in Iowa and Minnesota. You know what? We still do the cash market, cash contract, and we want to keep it that way. I mean, our smaller livestock producers, this is what we've done over the past, and then we want to keep it going and doing it, but we want to be treated fairly.
Right, and just to speak to the toughness of the Iowa farmer, obviously, we've seen that with planting, just trying to get in the field and get it done. It's the same thing in the beef industry. They've been dealing with this competition for a long time, and it's probably about time that they see this level playing field and get to, how do I want to say, take advantage of those prices that they truly deserve.
That is right. To me, it's a common sense approach. These steps to protect our farm families and protect our rural communities. I mean, it's time for the packers to play by the rules, and they haven't for far too long. And what this bill does is goes right to the crux of the problem.
Right. And are there any other details of this bill or other efforts to support Iowa cattle farmers that we should go over today?
Well, again, we're always watching very closely, especially when it comes to tax structures like stepped up in basis, like kind exchange, capital gains issues and stuff like that. I mean, there's always different ways where the federal government steps in and tries to take profits. The other side, obviously, is the input costs that we're really fighting right now. But, the farmers are resilient and we'll figure this out. But we don't want the impediment of government, when it comes to the tax structures that penalize us.
Of course. And, obviously, we thank you for what you've done for the beef producers, Congressman Feenstra. But still, you're not clairvoyant. So what's the best way for Iowa beef producers to make their voices heard to you so that you can represent them in the best way possible?
Absolutely. I mean, the great thing about beef producers, they're passionate about their field, about what they want done, and we have to be very active. And being active means that, if we can get online and look at the Ag Committee and send an email to the different Ag Committee people, especially those that might be in Kansas, those that might be in Texas, and say, hey, this is a fair bill. This is a very good bill. It's transparent. And boy, if they could do that'd be wonderful.
Right. And, what a better way to celebrate May as Beef Month than to get this going, make your voice heard so that we can continue to create better playing fields and just better methods for Iowa beef producers.
Absolutely. We waited far too long to get to this point, and we hopefully that we can make it happen here in May and get this bill passed.
All right, Congressman Feenstra, if people want to get a hold of you specifically and, get in contact and maybe, make their voices heard, how could they do that?
You betcha. So it's Feenstra at house.gov. So it's feenstra.house.gov. They can get a hold of me.
All right, Congressman Feenstra, it was great talking to you today. And, thanks again for all you're doing for Iowa farmers.
Yeah, thank you. Great to have you on, and hopefully we get this all worked out.
That again was Iowa Representative Randy Feenstra here on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith.
Thanks, Riley. And of course, you can find their previous conversations on iowaagnet.com. Let's go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, as I sat down to start doing this weather forecast, the sun finally started to peek out here in Des Moines. For the most part, we saw cloud cover here and across the state with those few peaks of sunshine, but now starting to get a little more intense. Let's take a look at what's going to happen in the next 24 hours from the National Weather Service. Well, it was another dreary, overcast day with a few peaks of sunshine here in Des Moines, and we saw those mostly cloudy skies really across much of the state. Now, you may have seen a little more sun or maybe a little less in other places. Check local listings, but we had that slight chance of showers building throughout the day as well, and those highs were in the low to mid 60s. Now, tonight, look for mostly cloudy skies that continue. Slight chance of showers here across the state as well. Better chance in the southwest corner, and looking for highs in the mid 40s to the low 50s. Now, tomorrow, it's going to be cloudy and chances of showers across the whole state. Better chances in the central and eastern and even southern parts of the state. Northwestern corner, not as much. We'll see a varied range of highs from the low 50s in the southwest to the upper 60s in the east. Taking a look at that affiliate weather map, as we said for tomorrow, Cherokee will see about a 30% chance of rain and a high of 60 degrees. Shenandoah, rain going to be almost likely and a high of 53. Des Moines also going to see rain showers and 59. Same with Albia. They'll see rain and 59. Waterloo, rain showers and 63. And as I said, Clinton, the hot spot in the area again, rain showers and 67. For more detailed forecasts in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. That's been a check of your ag weather outlook. When we come back after this short break, I'll be talking with Iowa Secretary of Agriculture Mike Naig about water quality. This is Ag Matters PM.
As we approach planting season, make sure you stay safe and share the road with your local farmers. Slow-moving tractors with large planters occupy a lot of space on the road, so stay patient and follow at a distance of around 50 feet. You should never, ever try to pass them at a bridge, intersection, hill, or curve. It's far better than putting yourself or someone else at risk. So please, stay safe and remember to tip your hat to your local farmer this planting season. This message was brought to you by your friends at the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network.
Welcome back to AM/PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, last week we sat down with Iowa Secretary of Agriculture Mike Naig and talked about planting progress, HPAI, and now we're going to talk about water quality initiatives. And of course, we've been getting some rain shower activity, and that always brings to the forefront these water quality goals. And Iowa Secretary Mike Naig had this to say about what's going on. Now, another thing that we were going to talk about this month, obviously with the fact that we are being slowed down by rain, water quality is something that comes to the forefront of people's minds again in the state. And agriculture sometimes finds itself in the crosshairs. But what's going on at IDALS to help with initiatives to keep that water quality good and improve it as we go along?
Well, we're really excited that it seems like we're always on this pace of announcing new projects. And, we just announced several new urban water quality projects. We're working on several batch and build projects where we will group together bioreactors and saturated buffers and work with counties all across the state to implement those at one time using one contractor. It's very efficient. But also, as I think of this time of year, of course, we're talking a lot about all those summer field days that'll be going on. And so I would really encourage folks to, pay attention to when those opportunities come, with the soil conservation districts or with watershed projects. Field days are a great opportunity to see some of these practices in action and to talk to other farmers, which I think is one of the most important things that we can do is have farmer to farmer interaction, folks sharing their experiences and the lessons that they've learned in incorporating conservation into their farms. And of course, the other thing that we will be announcing here very shortly will be making cost share available again for the things like cover crops and switching to no-till. So stay tuned for that because we'll be able to make those announcements very soon.
I'm finding it very interesting the fact that we're trying to share the story with our fellow citizens from the urban areas about what farmers are doing. But you also made mention kind of the fact that we have to make mention to some of the other farmers about that are maybe still on the fence with what's going to work for them or is it going to work for them and educating them as well.
It is. And look, change is hard. When we talk about switching to no-till or incorporating cover crops into your operation, or gee, what does it look like to put a buffer strip in or maybe to work with us to build a wetland? Those are not automatic and those are not easy things necessarily. And it does require a change in management. And so, again, we think one of the best ways for folks to really get a comfort level with that is I've seen some great presentations from farmers who are early adopters of cover crops, and they flat out say, well, we tried something and it didn't work. But then we did this and that worked better. And they even walk through some of the mistakes that they made, if you will, or certainly lessons that they learned. I find that to be incredibly credible when you can talk to somebody who's actually doing it. And again, those are great things. But look, we do it too as we are planting in the spring. As you're out in your fields, you're looking at where did I have some erosion? What might I do to incorporate a new practice into my operation? It's a great time of year to be looking at your farm and your landscape with a fresh set of eyes and say, what more could I do? And then our job is to come alongside, provide technical assistance and some financial assistance to help make those things happen.
That again was Iowa Ag Secretary Mike Naig here on AM/PM. You can find parts of our previous conversations at iowaagnet.com. And just like that, we're at the end of today's show of Ag Matters PM. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and you can also find our video products and previous episodes of AM/PM on our YouTube channel. Don't forget our free twice daily market podcast on Google, Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Riley Smith and Avery Haskell, we thank you for joining us. This has been Ag Matters PM.